Hey, gang. I would like to share a little bit of gold, absolute wisdom, life changing words, message from Mr. Eckhart. Please indulge me. Surrender is the simple but profound wisdom of yielding to rather than opposing the flow of life. The only place you can experience the flow of life is the now. So to surrender is to accept the present moment unconditionally and without reservation. It is to relinquish inner resistance to what is. Inner resistance is to say no to what is through mental judgment and emotional negativity. It becomes particularly pronounced when things go wrong, which means that there is a gap between the demands or rigid expectations of your mind and what is. That is the pain gap. If you have lived long enough, you will know that things go wrong quite often. I've noticed that one. It is precisely at those times that surrender is needed to be practiced if you want to eliminate pain and sorrow from your life. Acceptance of what is immediately frees you from your mind identification and thus reconnects you with being. Resistance is the mind. Surrender is a purely inner phenomenon. It does not mean that on the outer level you cannot take action and change the situation. In fact, it is not the overall situation that you need to accept when you surrender. It is the tiny segment called the now. All right, let's sum it all up. He says, for example, if you were stuck in the mud somewhere, you wouldn't say, okay, I resign myself to being stuck in the mud. Resignation is not surrender. You don't need to accept an undesirable or unpleasant life situation. Nor do you need to deceive yourself and say that there's nothing wrong with being stuck in the mud. No. You recognize fully that you want to get out of it. You then narrow your attention down to the present moment without mentally labeling it in any way. This means that there is no judgment of the now. Therefore, there is no resistance, no emotional negativity. You accept the isness of this moment. You then take action and do all that you can to get yourself out of the mud. Such action I call positive action, and it is far more effective than negative action, which arises out of anger, despair, or frustration. Blah, blah, blah. And he goes on and on and on. Surrender. Surrender. Another word for surrender is accept. You accept the reality that's going on in front of you. You accept life as it comes. You accept the traffic that you're in. You accept the bad news that you've received. You accept that the power just went out. You accept that your phone screen broke. You accept, you accept, you accept. Doesn't mean that you don't do anything about those things. It means that you do not mentally resist. You don't complain. You don't label it. You don't call up 4 people and say, oh my God, you won't believe what this person did to me, and how dare they do that? And when I was 5 years old, this thing happened to me, and in the future I'm going to do... No. You drop all of that self-imposed mental suffering. You accept the reality of what is. And from that calm, collected, poised place of acceptance, you then, if needed, take action. Don't you make better decisions and act more rationally and just perform better when you're calm versus when you're angry, scared, depressed, anxious? Acceptance, surrender is how you maintain that state throughout the day. Thanks for listening. Bye.